Hey, Black Cloud Engineers, demecoschambers here. And so, week one, I talked about the jobs that were available in the cloud, the career paths that you could take to building your career out in the cloud. Well, this week, I wanted to focus on the next necessary step because you can get overwhelmed with so many options, right? And so we're going to focus on finding that career path that best suits your personality and interests, because that's also vital and key in becoming a proficient and successful cloud engineer. You want to be doing something that you like. You want to be doing something that best suits your skills and that best suits your interests, and something that you basically want to do on a day in and day out basis, right? Again, it also helps you with being able to decipher the various cloud career paths that are out there, and narrow that list down to one or two areas that you want to focus on so you can get immediately started on your certifications and your training and your labs and your resume, et cetera, all till you get all the way till you become, an employed professional within the cloud industry. So what I'm going to do is going to go over. I've already talked in depth about the types of jobs that they're available, the types of career paths that are available. So now I'm going to talk about the personality that it takes to be proficient enough in each of those career paths. All right. So I'm going to break it down with the personality, and I'm going to kind of highlight some of the skill interests that are preferred when working in that cloud. And again, you just go from this list, running back as many times as you need, and you just decipher which one is best for you. So, first one is a cloud architect. All right, you already know what a cloud architect is by now. But the personality type for this is you have to be uh, analytical. Um, you have to be matter of fact. Straight to the point. Um, a bit of a creative, because again, you're working with lots of diagrams, so you're able to move things around to make things fit best for the client. Really good at explaining and working by yourself. So what I mean by this is you have to be really good at being able to communicate to the client, or to your internal company of the next phase of the infrastructure for your cloud infrastructure or cloud services or cloud applications. Being You have to be good at taking the complicated technical terms and technologies and just simplifying it and making it easy and digestible in layman's terms for those persons to understand. So if you're really good at that, again, if you're analytical, if you're really good at just being able to piece everything together, even the smallest of services, the smallest of resources in the cloud, and make them all very digestible to where someone can easily understand it. Cloud architect is definitely for you. So, moving on to cloud network engineers. You have to be, again, very analytical, detail oriented, friendly with numbers, and investigative. So, this basically means that, let me go, I'm going back to number one. The highest skill interest on cloud architects will be designing creativity and learning new tech. So those are the three highest skill interests for cloud architects. Now moving on again to cloud network engineers, analytical, detail oriented, friendly with numbers, investigative. Um, that's pretty much cut and dry. As a cloud network engineer, you have to be able to just break down numbers. You have to be really good with uh, being able to understand numbers, integers, uh, IP addresses, subnet mask. Not my favorite. VPNs, X, Y, and Z, but just being able to, you can, like, for a lot of people out there, numbers is just their language. All right, they understand and can speak numbers. I'm not. I'm not there. I'm not that kind of guy. But if that's you, if that's something that you're struggling, you're really good with numbers, you will love cloud network engineering. Their highest skill interests are, again, numbers and designing. You'll do lots of designing, helping, working with the architects and designing the best network for your applications and services to be able to pull traffic through. Um, so next is the cloud automation engineer. So the personality type for a cloud automation engineer is problem solving, big picture thinker, and proactive. So you have to be able to think how this automation is affecting. When I say big picture, how does automation affects the grand scheme of things? Proactive mean getting ahead. Being able to know what patches are upcoming and are going to need to be updated on what applications X, Y, and Z. And problem solving. You can just sit and figure out, and because you're going to do a lots of debugging, all right, lots of debugging and getting around errors and resolving errors. So and then the skills of interest for cloud automation engineers, the highest one is learning new tech, designing, and creativity. All right. Cloud developers. Personality type for cloud developer is tedious, good with details, patience, strong collaborative skills, good at keeping things in order, strong concentration skills. All right. And strong concentration skills basically meaning that you can sit on one task or a few and work them to completion for long periods of time. Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, even sometimes 12 hours, until you get around building out this piece of the development. This piece of an application, whether it's front end or back end. Tedious again. You're dealing with lots of programming. I don't like to say coding because coding gets kind of spooks a lot of people away and unnecessarily. When coding can be when you're sending text messages, you're coding, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, you're good with details. You have to because codes break all the time. For various reasons. So you have to kind of be able to eyeball, be able to read through code, um, and using your programming skills and making those replacements and adjustments when needed. It can be the smallest thing, like it can be like a semicolon somewhere, or it can be an alignment issue, uh, which will hurt cripple some code. So yeah, the highest numbers of the highest skill traits of interest for cloud developers are coding, numbers, and consistency of daily tasks. You will have a consistency of the same type of work on a day in and day out basis, sometimes even for weeks at a time until that part of the project is done. So that's for cloud developers. Cloud system administrators. Personality type, have to be punctual, all right? Have to be good at delegating tasks, good at managing projects, big picture thinker, multitask oriented, because you're always touching different aspects of the infrastructure. You're always going to be responsible for managing different parts of the infrastructure, and punctual because you're going to have to always make sure that the information you've gathered is centralized the right way. All right. So when you have these different teams come at you with their questions and concerns or meetings, X, Y, and Z, you need to be able to present, the data or your portion of the project that's in alignment with that department, those engineers, what they specifically work on. So just being punctual. You're kind of the go-to for you're almost like the oracle for everything. And so you just need to be on point, and then delegating tasks because you're going to usually have a team, not only your team, but you're working with other groups and departments of engineers. So when it comes to having these big projects and the rollouts, you need to be able to delegate, according to those engineer skill sets. So if that's your personality, if you're cool with that, you can do that on a day in and day out basis. Cloud system administrator is perfect for you. Um, their skill interests are management, all right, and designing, all right, and consistency of daily tasks. Now, when I say designing, doesn't always mean, um, drawing pictures and stuff, but designing meaning you can literally, um, you can create usually a diagram or so, or you can basically bring the big picture to tangible existence, the ideas to tangible existence, meaning you can draw it out and how A is supposed to connect to B and C, X, Y, Z. You can design, all right? So just keep that in mind too whenever you hear me say design. And creativity, same thing. It's just more so think of it as, yeah, you can say artsy, but also just being able to, it's just being able to think outside the box. That's all the creativity is, you know. Personality for cloud migration engineers. Personality type for those is customer service friendly, able to connect the pieces, right? Prefers to have orderly work, confident in decision making, strong communication skills. So yeah, you need to be able to communicate things. You're going to be working with either a client a lot or a particular engineering team, and you just have to have strong communication skills because so much can get lost in transaction when you don't know how to communicate or have poor communication skills or you're just not a communicative person. Um, yeah, orderly work because it's important. You know, you're literally taking a client's infrastructure and placing it in the cloud or parts of it in the cloud that's being serviced in the cloud, some form, some fashion. So you just need to have that personality type to be best fit for that kind of role, and the interest, skill interest for cloud migration engineers is analytical, um, designing, and consistency of daily tasks. Those are the top skill interests you need to have. Okay, cloud support engineers. Personality type for a cloud support engineers, you need to be customer friendly, strong communication skills, flexible work schedule, work wise, and a worker bee. And I say that because I was a cloud support engineer. So I know exactly the type of personality you have to be successful at it and do it for, make a career out of it. So yeah, you're dealing with customers 24/7. Well, the company is, hopefully you're not working 24/7, but you do have to have a flexible work schedule, be able to fit in, and just be able to help out and be kind of a plug and play part within the organization when it comes to the supporting the customers. That requires a lot of patience. You're dealing with a lot of customers and clients that are from different cultures, different countries, and so being able to communicate with them and being patient with them and trying to break those language barriers or dialect barriers, will get you a very, very long way. Customer service is like nearly 70% of that job function. So, and then their highest skill interest is consistency of daily tasks. You will get a consistency of daily tasks working as a cloud support engineer. So, cloud security managers, their personality type is a thorough communicator, thorough at following up until the task is completed, great at assessing risk management, and proactive. All right. So that's the personality type for a cloud security manager in a nutshell. Just you have to be thorough, a thorough professional. Sometimes they're just stern people. They're not mean. They're not grumpy. They're just very thorough. They're usually very is or people. Very black and white. Type people. So that because they're just thorough. So um, their skills of interest are the highest skills of interest are numbers, designing, and consistency of daily tasks. All right. Cloud product manager, personality type, great communicator, open to learning new things all the time, detail oriented, an organizer who can read a client's needs ahead of time and or a department's needs ahead of time, and insightful. Again, these are a lot of soft skills, soft personality interests when it comes to cloud product managers. Open to learn new things. Again, you got products coming out all the time annually, so you always have to be open and willing to see what's going on, and how it can advance or what features are new that can help advance the services that you all are already using. So, and their highest skills of interest will be learning new tech, uh, and consistency of daily tasks. All right. Security broker. So, security brokers, what's the personality type usually for a good security broker? Is they're detail oriented, they're well organized, they can work in isolation for long periods of time, they don't get frustrated easily, really good at crossing dots, and and really good for dotting I's and crossing all T's. That's what I mean. But yeah, they are detail oriented. They, they're again, they're protecting, securing the data, and they're just detail oriented. They have to because they deal with a lot of, they're dealing when you're dealing with data. There's so much red tape you have to be concerned about. That can be outside the organization. Maybe it can be an industry, standard that they have to stay compliant. The data has to stay compliant within, and then as well as all the internal metrics that the company uses to protect and secure data as well. So they're just very punctual, very detail oriented people. Everything is organized. They just know how everything is supposed to flow when it comes to the security, the privacy, and data organization for any organization. So yeah, just don't get frustrated easily. Very usually very patient. You have to. You know, you it's dealing with data. It's small micros, of data. So you have to just be willing to be patient when you can't find a solution. So if that's a type of person, if you can't find an immediate solution, you're patient with until you do find a solution. You're a patient person. This is for you. All right. Their top skills and interests are analytical and consistency of daily tasks and designing. All right. Cloud sales manager. These are people who are, you have to be a people person, creative, high tolerance, patience, can read people really well, self motivated on a daily basis. Again, sales managers, you know, you're dealing with various types of people. So you have to be good at just communicating with them and making them feel warm and comfy, and that, their problems and issues are in safe hands, Um, and a high tolerance for those. You're going to be in rooms where there's going to be an engineer or two who's a snob or who doesn't think going with your company or your services is the best route. So you have to have the patience to deal with their concerns and handle their concerns and address them, and in authentic ways, but and ways that they feel that, okay, this person knows their stuff, or they feel safe with you, with using your services for whatever reason. You can read people really well, so you can, pick up on personality types, what kind of mood someone is in, and you can kind of counter that mood to be against better serve your interest to be able to sell them a product or the services. The highest skill interest for cloud sales managers are numbers. Um, and as those numbers is more so like, knowing your sales numbers, knowing the pricing differences, and your pricing numbers for the client and for the cloud platform that you use and services, the X, Y, and Z. So just knowing your numbers. Learning new tech, all right, because again, this all attributes to how you can better become a better salesman for the cloud. And creativity, you have to be creative, and consistency of daily tasks. You will have consistency among the type of calls that you're going to have, and even consistency in what you expect to hear as outcomes from the client. The questions, you're going to become consistent client to client, and you'll almost automatically build an automated response for it, or a script at least, to always be able to handle or address certain concerns. So, yeah. And last but not least, cloud broker personality you need is good at negotiations, able to have tough conversations at ease. Again, this is the TAM role. Organized, can anticipate client and company needs, available for on call, works well under pressure. TAM, you're always stuck between a rock and a hard place. You're the person. TAM, TAM. You're always you're the liaison between the company and the client often, and you have to be able to be honest and have hard conversations with the client if they need it. if they need to, you need to have them push back. You need to push back on them on some demands that they have, or if you need to push harder on, the client or company for the company that you're working for. So you have to just be willing to have those tough conversations at any point. If that's easy for you, if that's something that you can deal with on a daily basis, again, being able to anticipate needs, checking up on clients or even internal on things that they need from you or that you can better help, any way, you get all the creativity in the world to figure this out. So, um, but yeah, you just need to just be good at what you do, and be a person of your word. So their highest skill of interest are numbers and consistency of daily tasks. All right, so there you have it. Those are all the personality traits that are best fit for those specific cloud career paths. Again, it's not always a one fits all, but if you just take it from that list I gave you and you figure out, well, which personality best suits you, that's more than likely the career route you want to go in, especially when you start looking into the objectives of what they do on a daily basis. You kind of get to see, okay, this is something that's more of my alley that I can tolerate, I can deal with. So always think that when choosing a career path, what is something that you can see yourself doing on a daily basis? I'm not saying you're gonna love it. Not saying you're not gonna love it. But I'm saying that, can you see yourself doing this on a day in, day out? Is this something that gives you some sort of excitement, some sort of thrill? Does it speak to your skill set of something that you're good at or even want to get better at on a daily basis? All right, so let me know and let's get to work. BCEs, we out.